I suppose I could just lose on purpose, but if I do, it could work against me. Since he'd expect Kira to want to win, he might also expect me to throw the match to avoid suspicion.
Are these two really amateurs? Who are they anyway?
I think their names are Light Yagami and Hideki Ryuga. These are the same two guys who scored perfect on the exam.
Hello, Mr. Balderdash here. So, lately I've been getting comments and feedback from people, good thing, and a lot of things that they're saying is that they really want some examples of the things I'm saying, and examples and rules from the SOSI concepts kind of defeats the purpose of SOSI concepts. But of course, to add as a supplement to SOSI concepts, I look around for things and videos and shows that I watch that really support and show evidence of and examples of these strategic principles going on. In this episode, how I started out, it starts off from one of my favorite anime show. Actually, my favorite anime show. Actually, it's so good in my mind. I liked it so much I actually stopped watching other animes. Just to get you up to speed on what's going on here, is the show is basically around the what if there was a notebook, and if by thinking of the person's face and writing their name, you could kill them. Well, this story takes the premise that Light Yagami, Japan's best and brightest student, gets a hold of this notebook. And ultimately, his dream is to become a god of a new world where it's full of people who are hardworking, honest, that kind of people. So he goes around basically killing all the criminals, starting off with the hardened ones first. Of course, something like that brings in the world's best investigator, L. Very mysterious kind of person, no one knows his name or identity, things like that. And he's basically set on trying to find out who Kira is and bring him to justice. At this point in the investigation, no spoilers, so don't worry about if you actually are interested in looking, which I recommend looking into this. There's a lot of things you can learn and really stimulates the mind and a lot of twists and turns in this series. But in this point in the investigation, what really ends up happening is that Light Yagami, rightfully so, is his only and main suspect. L's approach to finding out who Kira is basically profiling Kira's character with his suspects. Really, Light, for the most part, is his only suspect throughout the entire thing, for the most part. And so basically he's using this tennis match. And how this relates to the stuff I've been talking about, first of all, 2.3 interactions. He's using a series of interactions to profile his suspects with Kira, the name of the world is given the name of the killer that's killing all the criminals, Kira. And so he's right now with his suspects, like Yagami, challenge him to a tennis match as an interaction to try to put one step closer to see if he's actually the criminal called Kira. First of all, let's talk about interactions. He's using interactions as ways of gathering information and studying the interaction, not just what's said during interactions. Also, it's using a lot of 2.5, the big picture. Really what signifies that is the fact that it doesn't use one interaction. He's using series of interactions with Kira as well as situations just to find out. Otherwise, he's trying to build a big picture. It's not just one interaction that matters. It's a series of interactions that form a picture. And that's essentially what he's trying to do. So this interaction itself seems very valuable because it seems like it can bring the investigation one step closer, right? Well, there's actually a couple strategic principles that make this interaction almost worthless, I'd like to say. First of all, going back to interactions, 2.3.5 about the you know that I know that you know problem. Literally the problem where it's the outthinking game is what I call it. And since these two people are very smart and very bright, they're always trying to outthink each other, especially in this interaction. Basically how Light thinks of it as, and I guess I'll let you listen to the audio of what they're thinking later, but basically Light's like, okay, he's trying to use this to profile me and compare it to Kira. Okay? So basically, one of the things about Kira is that Kira is very aggressive and upfront. He likes to face challenges head on. So he's like, so if I go for the win, it seems like I'm showing to be like Kira. So I might go for the loss. But, of course, he's thinking that I'm thinking this, so I'll go for the win. But he's going that I'm thinking that, so I'll go for the lose. But he's thinking I'm thinking that, so I'm going to go for the win. You can go infinity times with that whole line of logic. Essentially, the whole thing has now been reduced to an interaction that really almost has no value to it. Going for the win or going for the lose are both ways of that he's Kira or he's not Kira. Second of all is that there's a perception. I couldn't really think of a way to classify this according to anything, but the thing is that... What the heck? The thing is that Kira is both an aggressive and upfront, but also very deceptive. Kira likes to face challenges head-on, which would mean going for the win, but he's also very deceptive, so he could also go for the lose. Even if he goes for the win, it doesn't even say much at all because most people like to win when they're compared to winning and losing. So, in a sense, this interaction seems very valuable at first, but this valuable really gets reduced down to something almost meaningless. It's actually the further and follow-up interaction that really, which I don't show in this video, so you should probably want to watch it, that really gets this thing going, that really starts setting some traps that L sets for Light Yagami to see if he's Kira. So anyway, this has been some examples of some of the concepts I've been showing in action from television shows, games, actual real-life examples. Try to pull them for you so that way you can see. Anyway, this is Mr. Balderdash, signing out.
Light, while it's true that Kira hates losing, it's also true that most people would rather win than lose. It's human nature.
Is he going to think that I'm Kira if I go for the win? I suppose I could just lose on purpose, but if I do, it could work against me. Since he'd expect Kira to want to win, he might also expect me to throw the match to avoid suspicion. I don't see any way that he can profile me based on a tennis match. So, I have to assume he has some other goal in mind. Either way, I'm not going to let him win.
Look at that. He's going for the win. I can see the wheels turning, Light Yagami. I'm already in your head.
There's no way this tennis match will deepen our friendship. This is a token gesture, an elaborate act we'll go through so we can say we're closer.
Because I wanted to play tennis with you, you'll assume that I'm preparing to take a step closer, laying the groundwork to get to know you better.
And then you're going to try and trap me by getting me to say something that only Kira would know.
However, I'm sure you'll tell me you need to know if you can trust me first. And of course, the only way to win your trust will be to share what I know about Kira.
If you want me to discuss Kira with you, it only makes sense that I'd want to ask for proof that you are in charge of the investigation, and more importantly, that you are really L as you say you are.
So it goes without saying that the first thing you're going to want from me is...
some kind of confirmation from a third party that you really are L, which means...
we'll have to go to Task Force headquarters.
In all things, one cannot win with defense alone. To win, you must attack!
Game and set! Won by Light Yagami! 6 games to 4!